2 steps forward and 6 feet down. Confusion. A blink and then I'm back. Who am I? A soul formed of miserable memories fills me in the moment of disorientation. I'm staring into my own eyes reflected in my bathroom mirror. I grab a towel and dab off the water dripping down my face, pressing a little too hard and it snaps me out of my mood. I walked home today. It took half an hour and I smell like car fumes. I wanted to feel the summer air, to re-establish that there is a world outside my office and dark apartment. Another case completed at work, another exhausting day done. The outside seems a little more necessary when you're reminded it can be taken away. The colors and stimulations of city forced into my scattered brain faded the moment I unlocked my door and stepped inside. I came here to wash my face and to blow my nose, and I wound up losing time. I leave the bathroom and enter the main room of my apartment, the one with the couch, kitchen and coffee table. On the coffee table is my purse. In that is my phone. I slumped onto the couch while staring at the bag. I imagine it staring back at me, stalking me while it waits for the taste of my hand groping inside it. There's a pull, like a magnetic force pressing my insides downwards. A painful numbness that keeps my hand from rising. I wait. When the pull weakens, I force my hand forward, darting inside my purse and coming out with my phone. 16 missed calls, 5 voice messages, 8 texts. Adrenaline spikes my heart rate as I open the texts. Call me as soon as you can. I need to talk to you. Please call me back. Seriously, Anne, I need you. I read. There was more, but I'm already dialing. When Rachel answers, I can hear her breathing, but she doesn't say a thing. She doesn't have to. Mum has finally done it. She's gone? I ask. It's reasonable. She tried before it got bad. Rachel's voice when she finally answers me sounds rough and emotionless, as if everything inside her has been pushed out to give room for what I'm feeling too. Guilt, regret, and all the little things we felt we should have done, should have changed after last time. She hung herself, Rachel says. She used a tree out back, the shitty thing to do, using our tree. We used to have a swing in that tree. An image forces itself into my head of us kids singing rhymes while swinging back and forth, holding on either one of our mother's legs in the cadence as she hangs. Suffocation, it had to be that, my greatest fear of being defenseless. Clawing at air that won't enter petrified lungs, pouring life out of me as I am powerless. Rachel and I talk, make plans. I don't know all the words that we said, only that when I ended the call it was night and my apartment felt void of all life. Our mother had not really lived in a long time. I only hoped that she had found peace that was always so fleeting in her life. My tired mind can dredge up no memories of us, no comforting words she may have shared before depression stole her away from us. I hope I can at least dream of her. I do dream, but it's of the same image again and again, swinging on my mother's leg, singing songs and laughing in between verses. I walk to work and back every day now, craving these empty times of self-reflection. I visit family and friends, hanging back after work and chat before I head out. I even called Dad the other day, although that feels like a waste of time. I'm ticking the boxes of what living life looks like, and yet I have this dread building up inside of me. I make an appointment with a therapist. I leave work early to get there on time, telling my boss it's a family thing. Everyone's been extra nice as gossip spreads the news about my mother's death, but the same gossip had destroyed the careers of others at the office who went to therapy and got labelled as mentally ill by co-workers. Can't work for a lawyer and be mentally ill. There's a joke in there somewhere, but it's not a funny one. For my first appointment, I don't even have to tell her about what I see, the thoughts I think, but eventually she pulls it all out. The nightmare, my mother's history, depression, the mental illness that lurks in my family's bloodlines. She recommends medication. For sleep. For happiness. I agree, but I don't take them. I saw what that would do to my mother. That was 20 years ago. But change is a hard thing to put faith into. It's mid-June. I get my apartment building right at dusk. My window is open. I never open my window, and I certainly don't right before leaving for work. I pull out my phone, dialing 911, and I unlock the door and rush inside. Nothing is out of place. Nothing is missing. Nothing moved. I keep my thumb on the call button and I search through the house. I come to the last closet, my heart is pounding, and I reach out my hand, snatch the doorknob and swing it open. Empty. I go back to the main room and search under the window. No pressed down footprints, no dirt, no fingerprints on the glass. I shut and lock the window and put my phone away. The last thing I check is the spare keys in the dresser drawer. They're there. I want to call the police, but I wonder, did I open the window? Why would I have? But I must have. Awake suddenly, the kind of 0 to 100 that flings you out of bed before you remember your own name. I smell smoke. I feel the bedroom door handle. Cool to the touch, I open the door and I see a fine smoke swirling lazily in the air. I rush to the kitchen and find a piece of bread in a skillet giving off a thick black smoke. I turn off the heat and grab a towel. I throw the blackened toast into the sink and douse it with the skillet in the water. I yank open a teeny kitchen window and gulp in some fresh air. My coughing shakes me, and I have to grip the counter to stay steady. My eyes are burning. I feel faint, but not from the smoke. My mother. She used to make toast in a skillet when I was little. When she could manage being up, cooking was simple, quick little meals. But they meant so much. And why the hell would bread be cooking now while I was asleep? I turned on the house fan to clear more smoke. I tossed the burnt toast, and I nearly do the same with the skillet, but instead I scrub it clean and place it back on the counter to dry. I practiced the calming breathing exercises that my therapist gave me. All the doors are locked, the windows secured. I go to bed and try to relax, try to go somewhere else in my mind. The smoke alarm blares once again and I am standing. I rush to the kitchen, but there is no smoke. I grab a chair and pull the batteries out of the fire alarm. Is this thing on a 10-minute delay? The skillet is now hanging up where it usually is. I feel tears pressing at my eyes as I walk to the trash can. When I open it and find it empty once again, no trace of even crumbs or water, I crumble to the ground and I cry. The therapist insists I take anti-anxiety meds. One small white pill every day creates a new kind of numbness in my life, but it helps me cope and dulls the daydreams. Work is normal. I call my sister. I feel better about my life and the future. I'm not afraid of the pills. I welcome them every morning. I swallow a pill, get ready for my day, walk to work, write up briefs, and field the same creeps who call to accuse us of ruining their lives. Do research and ruin more creeps' lives and walk home. Sometimes I go out with co-workers. Sometimes I visit friends or family and I smile. Today I took my pill and as I walked to work my stomach felt odd, woozy and churning, I broke out into a sweat and I felt heaviness that I had avoided for weeks come rushing back. Work is a nightmare. I call a ride to get home and I stumble to bed, sleeping through the night only to wake to my heart crashing around in my chest. Everything is blurred, coming in and out of focus. I crawl to the bathroom, I take my little pill and I crawl back to bed. I call out of work, warning them that I may have the flu. I feel worse. I wonder if this is a side effect of the pill. When I call my therapist, she tells me no, it's only a symptom of your condition. Fight through, you're strong, but you need the pills. The next day I take another pill. I'm losing time. Colors exchange places. My thoughts are unclear. I can't take another sleeping pill, so the night won't stop. I don't know who I am. I barely make it to the bathroom, and the house in every corner looks like a person is watching me and smiling. Every shadow has teeth and strangers are moving through my house. I cry uncontrollably as my mother holds me in her arms, rocking me back and forth and singing a melody from the music box. I sing it too. Our voices fly around the room in trails of light. Awake on the floor by the kitchen as the sun rises. I cannot take another pill. The next few days are filled with misery and I refuse to take my meds. My depression is amplified and my bed becomes a web grabbing hold and not letting go. Exhaustion is folded into my molecules. Finally, I start to feel alive again. I return to work, but I can't bring myself to talk to my therapist, afraid to be given something new that would bring me hope and then crush me. Call my sister instead, reminding her about the music box and reminiscing about the times Mum took care of us even when she couldn't get out of bed. We would be lying by her side while sick or recovering from an injury, and she would tell us to open the music box. When it slowed, one of us would wind it. We would sing to it sometimes, making up words or just playing with the melody. Felt better and worse to remember her that way. Made it harder that it was so many days between the times we would call or visit as adults. Rachel hired a company to clear out the hold of trash and clean the house. She promised that if they found the music box, she would bring it over. I found my rhythm at work again. Combining reading with practice breathing calmed my mind and stilled the little shiver my hand would do every so often. Remembering to breathe was the opposite of suffocation. It was sucking life in, holding it, basking in it, and then exchanging it for a taste of another. In between the memos of missing deviants and the office drama of the week, I breathed. Sometimes I smelled the perfume my mother wore and I let those breaths loose faster than the rest. I find a package inside the door of my apartment, wrapped in festive paper. I picked it up and unwrapped it. Inside the cardboard is a music box. I lift it out, holding it. I wind the key, which makes a little ballerina spin, but to no music. The notes are there, unvoiced, buzzing around my mind like a trapped hummingbird. I left the music box at the house when I moved out, discarded whatever strands that could remind me of my one-sided relationship with my mother. I text Rachel. Thanks for dropping off the music box. She replies, I couldn't find it. What do you mean? After a few more texts, I confirmed that she didn't send the music box. She doesn't even have a key to this apartment. I realized that she had them for the last one I was in. I consider calling the police, but I know I will sound crazy. Hide the music box in the closet. I call it an early night and go to bed. Awake. There's a rustle. I turn and see the music box is by the nightstand. A shadow moves by the foot of the bed, separating itself from the darkness. He walks slowly and upright to the window. I feel cold air brush past my face and the figure disappears into the moonless night. Maybe I fell asleep. Maybe I passed out. But now it's morning, and I find that the music box is still on the nightstand. Instead of a dancing ballerina in a gazebo, there's a hanging woman. I wind it up and the figure will spin and spin and I throw it into the trash. Ghosts are just another item on the list of things that can haunt you in your life. I still think about the time I spilled pudding on a teacher and she yelled at me. It was 20 years ago. Could my guilt and loneliness from losing my mother manifest into physical form? I should call my therapist. But instead, I hire a ride to take me to my mother's house. My sister and I hid a key in the front yard in case Mum ever tried to lock us out during one of the low times. We had neighbors watching the house like hawks. Even with all that, she was gone a day after we talked to her and before the neighbors could even wake up. Today, the neighbors still felt asleep. No one is around. No movers, no mowers or children. I find the key. It looks well used. I assume Rachel had forgotten her key a few times when she comes over to let in the house crew. Inside, the house is unrecognizable. Its clean, organized boxes fill the living rooms with odds and ends sorted into possible value. Mum's perfume is much stronger here, lingering the air like a forgotten memory. A hole where a thought once was. How does one cleanse a regret? Is it regret, or am I filled with rage? I never told my therapist about how much anger I have for my mother. How she could never be a normal mother that a kid deserves. How she left me with the same imbalanced chemicals that she suffered with. Is it regret? Or am I filled with rage? I never told my therapist about how much anger I have for my mother, or how she could never be a normal mother that a kid deserved. She left me with the same unbalanced chemicals that she suffered with. The floorboard creak and I turn. A figure stands in front of me, eyes staring into mine from a face scrunched up into a look of disgust. This is not a ghost. This is a person. My mouth forms around a word and his swinging fist hits me first. The ground catches me ungracefully. I know that face, and I run. I can't make it back through the front door, so I fling myself towards the glass door in the back. Out there I scream for help. He's right behind me and he pulls at my shirt as I grab hold of the handle and flip the lock. I use his yank on my shirt as extra force to pull open the door, then kick back and hit his leg. He pulls hard on my shirt and I kick again, striking the inside of his knee. It buckles as my shirt gets pulled from his grasp. I run outside to see my mother hanging in a tree. Her face isn't swollen or black like it was when we found her. It's like when she looked when I was a child, young, with the smiling lines that rarely get used and distant eyes, then she's gone. I scream for help and I turn to face the man. He's one of the creeps we worked to put away. He's one of the ones who ran, but we made sure everyone knew who he was. He broke into women's homes and messed with their lives, stalking them to make them feel like they were losing their minds. In one case, he switched out medications for hallucinogens. Another, he kept turning on a different faucet. He knows how to cover his tracks and he knows how to gather information. He was obsessive over his destruction. This had all been him driving me mad, playing my insecurities against me. I didn't have to ask why. I'd heard it on the phone and in the letters from dozens of people like him. The consequences of their actions are not on their shoulders. It's on anyone else's. He is going to kill me. I'm back against a tree. No one is answering my screams. I try and run by him, but he grabs me and gets his hands around my neck. I rip at his hands, twist at his wrists, but they are locked onto me. Everything is in desperation, fear, and the click-lock of inevitable failure. My vision is fading, white and black, splotches and flashing lights. I am screaming inside my head. Not in words, but in life, using it to beg for more time. A sound cuts through. Crack! So loud, I feel myself and my murderer jump. The cracking continues, loud as thunder. Something slices through my cheek and throws me to the ground. I take in gulps of air clawing at my throat. It feels concaved, but the hands are gone. I cannot run because I cannot see. Breathing becomes my one concern. My vision clears and I blink to find once there was a man and now there is a fallen tree. Through the branches I see twitching blood and bones. The ringing in my ears recedes and now I can hear a whistling, gurgling sound. Punctured lungs, crushed body, limbs through limbs. He was one with nature, and nature could be a bitch. I waited until the whistling stops before I called 911. My sister stayed with me tonight in my apartment, falling asleep beside me in one bed almost instantly. I lay staring at the ceiling, stiff and sore, smelling of antiseptic and bandages. My neck aches and every swallow makes me wince. I wondered how he did it all, the little moments to the larger ones, the obsession and hate that was funneled into me from his pitiful existence. I was determined to rid him of my life, even the joy I felt as I listened to the last moments of his suffering. His name and face would fade into the nothingness in my life, my mother. Although she struggled with feelings that all some days had tried, I'm still angry at the pain she caused, but I understand. What she did was not to hurt me, it was to help herself. It was a part of why she struggled and a part of the burden she carried and I carried as someone who loved her. I could let go now, maybe. There were moments in these last few months that the stalker didn't quite explain. Cumulating with a healthy tree, my mother hung herself in cracking into and killing the man who was trying to murder me, only cutting my face as it felt past, as if the music box is playing somewhere close. I smell her perfume and I don't know if I'm crying or if I feel someone else's tears on my face. Feel my sister's hand in mine tighten as she grasps it. I hear it too, she whispers.